It's finally game week. We have a tremendous task. It's a difficult task, but we relish this opportunity. It gives our football team a chance to play on a national stage against one of the top teams in America. And man, that's the kind of games we want to be in, and we have an opportunity to expand our brand at Ole Miss, and hopefully go and compete at a high level on that given night. It should be very exciting. It should have all the eyes of the nation upon us, and we get to represent our great university and our great conference in one of these Power 5 matchups against again, one of the top teams in our country this year. So they're super talented, maybe the fastest team I've watched defensively. They have a lot of returners on both sides of the football. Offensively, tailback is a special player. Cook is really good. Rudolph and Wilson and Whitfield, they're all returners that caught, I think, over 50 balls each. So they've got balance and good players all around the offensive lines. It returns. So quarterback, they've got a very talented kid that's going to start the game. Haven't seen him in game situations, but I was aware of who he was in recruiting and know that he's really talented. Defensively, maybe one of the better safeties I've ever seen in James. He's really good at both, very physical. Walker and 91 at D tackle, I think, are as good as we see any game in this league we play in. So I think from top to bottom, it's one of the better teams we've ever played in my tenure here, and it's going to be a great challenge, but also a great opportunity.
All right, raise your hand if you have a question. We'll bring a microphone to you.
Hugh Fadal recently went to Texas. How is his foot feeling, and kind of what's the update with him?
Says he's feeling better, but today's a day off, so we won't know until tomorrow's practice really what that means. Sometimes it's easy that it feels better when you're walking around, but we'll see how he goes tomorrow in practice. But he was very optimistic.
With all the adversity still surrounding the program, how do you block out all the noise?
Didn't know we had any adversity, so I just don't pay. I pay attention. Again, I've said this 100 times. Our players are the priority, and they have zero to do with whatever the noise is. And they should be the focus, and they should be the priority, and that's what motivates me. Is all of the talk or whatever is about a kid or kids that don't play here anymore. And these young men chose to come to this university to continue to build a program. And when I look at them, I don't think about the noise. I think about what I owe them to get them ready to play.
As good as Florida State is, though, playing in the SEC, you got to feel like, well, we're prepared for this.
Yeah, I try to tell myself that, but when you watch film, you're still, I'd probably feel maybe a little bit different if it wasn't the opening game where there's so many unknowns, because we are replacing a lot of players, and you're not quite sure how your kids are going to perform in those environments against this talented of a team. So there's no doubt I think that we have a football team that's capable of competing with anybody in the nation this year. So I'm always going to be confident in that. But there's a lot of unknowns going into week one when you're playing, who most people have picked to be in the college football playoff this year. And I see why when I see their tapes. But this conference does prepare you, and we've been in some good games, some good battles, and we'll be ready. Our kids, they won't run away from it. They're going to show up and play.
Hey, Hugh, you talked about not having any tape of their quarterback and everything. What's that like to prepare for? Is that an advantage for them because of the unknown, or is it an advantage for you because he hasn't played a college game before?
Yeah, I don't know. You could go back and look at different scenarios where there's been quarterbacks that came out of high school. There was one in particular the last couple of years, and I thought, man, this guy's going to be phenomenal. and he got on that stage at a school in this conference, and he didn't do real well. And then you have, on the other hand, a Johnny Manziel who comes out of nowhere. Nobody's talked about him, and, unbelievable from day one. So it's, if I want to look at it and say it's advantageous that he hasn't played in this type of game before, I could say that. They could probably say, oh, he's talented enough to handle it, and that night will tell. But I don't know until we play the game, which one is going to carry more weight. Is it that he doesn't have the experience, or is it that he's just that talented enough that he gets it done?